Hey, we're here. Going to record a basic Bible study. I'm just going to look at stuff in the Bible and study it. I did a short video on how they write in the Bible. It's short, 17, 18 minutes. And it was law, L-A-W. And I was looking it up and I was like, there's got to be more. So I wanted to look up more on that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to look up stuff on law in the Bible. And hey, if I get into other stuff, that's fine, because this is just me studying the Bible. I figured I could record it. Maybe it helps some people. Let's see, share screen. A tiny little face up there. There, my parallel Bible website, Bible Gateway. So most of the passages where there's going to be law, Control Shift H. Most of the passages where there's going to be law is in second half of Exodus through Deuteronomy. There's some stuff in is later in Ezekiel for after the exile. You got Adam and Eve, you got the flood. God finds Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham has a kid named Isaac. Isaac has a kid named Jacob, amongst other kids, but those are the chosen ones. Jacob changed his name to Israel, got 12 tribes. He's got a bunch of kids, got 12 tribes to make the nation of Israel. God's like, hey, Moses, Israel's in bondage, gets them out. Then Moses starts making rules for the people. Okay, because they want to build themselves a nation. Later, after hundreds of years, Israel does really dumb things, a nation, they go into exile. When they come back from exile, they've been captured, the army beats them up. God frees them. When they come back from exile, got to make more rules, got to make laws. So Ezekiel, there's some in Ezekiel. That's why there's two places. I'm trying to think of other places in the Bible where they have specific laws that they're like, we're going to make these laws. Right now, let's look at Exodus. I'm just kind of guessing. 20. No. Let's look at Exodus 18. Right after Moses got him out of Egypt. Okay. So there's no laws here just yet. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. This is just Jethro, a priest of Midian, heard about everything that God had done for Moses. Okay, so this is a story. This isn't law yet. Okay, Jethro counsels Moses. Oh, here's some law stuff. It came out at midday that Moses sat to judge the people. The people stood before Moses from morning until evening. Now, when Moses' father-in-law saw that he was doing, he was like, what is the thing you're doing for the people? Why do you sit alone as judge all the people from morning until evening? Because Moses said, because the people come to me to inquire. When they have a dispute, they come to me. Moses' father-in-law said to him, the thing you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out both yourself and these people. Okay, so you be the people's representative before God. You bring the disputes to God. Then admonish them about the statutes and the laws. Okay, so if people have disputes, they go to Moses. Moses is like, hey, I'll go to God. They go to God, they make a statute or a law. Pretty simple, right? We wish it worked that way today, but in America, you got to write to your congressman or write to your mayor or to your president. You got to petition. You got to get a bunch of people with signatures. We need new laws. They got to pass it through Congress and all this stuff. It takes forever to make a new law. Here, hey, Moses, we got a problem. Moses talks to God. God gives him a ruling. When it's just you and God, God's got himself his own nation, just you. Things go quick, it seems. When God gives us the freedom he wants us to have, things go crazy. Let's see. Furthermore, you shall select out of all the people able men who fear God, men of those who hate dishonest gain. You shall place over them as leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties. Let them judge all the people. Okay, Jethro said, select people out of all the men, able-bodied men, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain. Let them judge the people at all times, and let it be they will bring to you every major matter. That's a lot easier. Okay. So Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything that he said. Shouldn't Moses have asked God about it? Well, God didn't. Later in the book of Numbers, they're like, hey, we selected 70 judges. God took some of the spirit on Moses and took it to the other people, and put it on them. So obviously God didn't disagree. So they tell the same story. They tell more of the story in Numbers. Yes, the Bible does that. The Bible tells things. The history is a little wonky, a little out of order. We want everything perfectly chronological. Back in ancient history, they didn't always do that. Hey, that just means we get to study more. Yay, that's what this is all about, Bible study. Okay. And yes, I say in the book of Numbers, this also happened. And you're like, wow, you know everything about the Bible. No, I promise. I promise I don't. Someday you read the Bible 3 or 4 years, you study a few times a week, even do daily devotions. My wife reads her Bible twice a day. She got in the habit of doing that. And then she'd be like, hey, in this part of the Bible, and I'm like, I don't remember that. So look at that, twice a day, So, and sometimes she even misses days, but she still gets it. And after a few years, it happens. A few years, yes, it takes a few years, but it'll happen. Don't worry. God does not expect us to be Bible experts anyway. He expects us to love him. All right, back to law, L-A-W. La, 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 la. Moses, father-in-law. Okay, let's look for some actual laws. So if chapter 18, if we're going to assume chronological, the chapters in the Bible and the books generally go in chronological order, very, very generally. So if we assume very generally, chapter 17 might have some laws, chapter 16, but water in the rock, nope, that's, let me see, the Lord provides manna, the Lord provides meat, and 15 is the song that they sang because God beat up the Israelites, so they sing a song to God. Man, where's some law? Yeah. 18. So they sent out from, let's see, the whole congregation, sons of Israel, grumbled against Moses. Okay, so they grumbled against Moses. They didn't go to him and say, hey, we have these problems. They're like, we're grumbling. The Lord then said to Moses, so people grumble to Moses. Moses goes to the people. Goes to the Lord. Okay. All right. Keep picking at my nose. Okay, now here's some law. This is what the Lord has commanded. Okay, so the people are grumbling, they're hungry. The Lord says, all the congregation come forward before me, for he has heard your grumblings. God has heard their grumblings. They came forward. Aaron spoke to the entire congregation. Okay, so Aaron spoke. So we still got the whole thing. Moses is like, I can't talk that well, so he lets Aaron speak. So he's still letting Aaron speak. Okay, I have heard your grumblings. Just going to speak to, okay, where's the law? Came about at evening, quotes, in the morning, there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew evaporated, behold, on the surface of the wilderness, there was a little fine flake-like thing, manna. What is it? What is it? Manna is, okay. It is the bread. Okay. This is what the Lord has commanded. So here's some law. Everyone gather as much as he will eat. You shall take an omer apiece according to the number of the people, each of you in his tent. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Is that official law? Did they chisel it in stone? Not necessarily, but Moses told them to do it, and they do it. Okay. When's the first time? No, on the sixth day, they gathered twice as much bread. Oh, that's right. No one is to leave any until morning. But they did not listen to Moses, and some left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and stank. Come on, people. Why do you think God gives us these rules? On the sixth day, they gathered twice as much bread because the seventh was a Sabbath. The seventh day is a Sabbath. I didn't find the Sabbath rule, so maybe they already did that. Okay. Let's find some actual law. 18. There's 18. 19. Okay, they came to, when they set out, Moses, the elders of the people, all the people said, we will do as the Lord has spoken. Oh, they will? Will they? They didn't listen to the manna. I'll go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. Okay. So the Lord visits Sinai. Okay. Mount Sinai was all smoke because the Lord descended upon it. Let's see. 20. 10 commandments. Here's some actual law. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. So there's mountain, there's smoke and stuff on the mountain. You shall have no other God before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol. You shall not worship them nor serve them. Then he explains stuff about the law. Sometimes you get law, you get just straightforward. You shall have no other gods. You shall make for yourself you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. But then sometimes they go and they kind of pontificate. They kind of explain to you stuff about it. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. And then he explains more. For 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But on the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work. Okay, so it's explaining. Here's what you do with the law. Okay. Later, much later, in the time, let's say in the time of Jesus. The Pharisees are like, why are you doing this on the Sabbath? You're not allowed to. One guy was carrying his little mat on the Sabbath because he had a mat. He was crippled. Jesus heals him. He picks up his little mat that he's been laying on, and he takes it with him. The Pharisees are like, hey, you're crumbling. The disciples, they pick wheat. They rub the grains of wheat between their hands to get the little kernels of wheat. The religious leaders are like, why are you doing work on the Sabbath? It's like, man, they got all these crazy rules. There are crazy rules like they couldn't walk a certain amount on the Sabbath. They couldn't even kindle a fire. That's one of the rules in the thing. It says don't even kindle a fire in the Bible. But then they take that so far, they're like, hey, don't even light candles. They have to do all their cooking before. It's like, man, they put so many laws and stuff. Here you can see where it starts. On it, so God says, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Okay, that's simple. 6 days you shall labor. Okay. On it you shall not do any work. Okay, so he's adding more. Your son, nor your daughter, nor your male or female slave, nor your cattle, or even the resident. Oh, okay. So man, he's already adding some stipulations. But then, like I say, by the time you get to the New Testament, just gone way off the rails, and it's probably not even from God. They think it's from Moses. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not. Yes, there's a lot of you shall nots. I wish the Bible was more like, you should help your neighbor. Now, love your neighbor as yourself is an actual command in Leviticus, but there is a lot of you shall nots. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. That grates against people's nerves. Quit telling me what I can't do. Okay, he's God. He's talking to people in ancient times. That's the way they did things in ancient times. Okay. Now, you can see here, you shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet. You shall not covet all that stuff. And all the people were watching and hearing the thunder and the lightning flashes, the sound of trumpet. Wait, is this a law? Then they said to Moses, speak to us yourself and we will listen. Wait, are they giving Moses a law? No, obviously not. Right here, they switch without even telling us from giving us law or giving us laws, giving us commands, statutes, ordinances. Sometimes they'll say they switch from giving us that down here into a narrative. It's like, why do they do that? Oh, well, there's verse 17 and 18. Remember, when Moses or Moses's students wrote this, They didn't have chapters and verses. It was just a line of Hebrew from right to left, a line of Hebrew from right to left, a line of Hebrew from right. Then when scribes copied it, right to left, right to, they didn't even have vowels yet. Later, many years later, I'm not sure when, they put in little dots to show you where the vowels were, and eventually we come to English and see what's a hard time translating stuff. So if chapter 19 and chapter 20 don't have a break, okay, there's no break. Mount Sinai was all in smoke. Okay, Moses said to the people cannot, Moses said to the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, set boundaries against it and consecrate it. Then the Lord said to Moses, go down and come up again, you and Aaron, but do not let the people. So Moses went down to the people and told them. Now there's no chapter break. Then God spoke all these words. So Moses is up on the mountain. He's like, hey, I'm going to go talk to you people. Hey, then God starts talking. I'm the Lord your God. He gives them law. Then the people are like, oh no, we're worried. Don't do this. So here, it is kind of like a narrative. Moses talking to God. God says, Moses, go down to the people. So Moses goes down to the people and talks to them. And then they all turn around. They look at the mountain. God starts talking to them. They listen to God say all this stuff. And then it's like they can't handle it anymore. The people are watching. They start freaking out. Oh, no. Was it exactly 10? Was it maybe while God was talking, he's like, you should not murder. And the people are already freaking out like, oh, this is scary and stuff. Hey, Moses, I'm not sure. Speak to us yourself and we will listen. Okay. So the Bible just intersperses law with the narrative. It's like, where does it end? Where does it begin? I'm not sure. That's what study's for. Oh, hey, look. Then the Lord said to Moses, oh, okay. Do not be afraid, for God has come in order to test you, and in order that the fear of him may remain with you, so you will not sin. Okay, so Moses is saying, dude, God is coming down, and he's big and bad, because he wants you to fear him. He wants to test you, see if you're what you're going to do. So the people stood at a distance, so they stayed there, but Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. Lord said to Moses, this is what you shall say to the sons of Israel. You yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. Okay, so he's proving, he's like, hey, I have spoken. Don't. Oh, and then he goes back to the law. You shall not make any other gods of silver or gold. You shall not make them for yourselves. You shall make an altar of earth. You shall sacrifice it. It's like, why is God talking to Moses this way? I don't know. Maybe after the fact, Moses recorded it, because I'm sure that Moses wasn't writing it down right then. Maybe somebody much later recorded what was told to them. When they recorded it, it might have been exactly as it happened, might have been the gist of it. We're scared to say, wait, recorded the gist of it, so I might have gotten stuff wrong. I like to think of it as this is what he told him, and later he wrote it down. God can bring stuff to our memory supernaturally if he wants. So just from narrative to law. So God's just speaking to them in law. God's trying to, that's just the way he did. Then sometimes he speaks to us that way. He's like, hey, you go here, go there. I've never heard God talk to me, but in the New Testament, God has talked to people and he's like, hey, you're going to do this, but don't worry. I've got your back. Okay. God seems like a commandment giving God. Exodus 21, ordinances for the people. Okay, remember, that's the subtitle, not in the Bible. Now, these are ordinances which you would sub if you buy a Hebrew slave. So it tells you all the stuff about buying a slave. If a man sells his daughter as a female slave, that tells you all about that stuff. Personal injuries. He who struck. So we went from this is what you shall say to Israel. And then he starts giving them some, so the people are scared. That's what you shall say to Israel. He gives them some more laws. He's like, if you make an altar of stone, not out of cut stones, don't wield a chisel on it, don't go up by steps, so your nakedness will not be exposed on it. Later, they make, God tells them make priestly garments with underwear, basically. So, they all wore robes back then. So God's giving them directions. Then we go over here. Okay, here's more directions. I bet, Moses was on the mountain. I bet he's on the mountain now. It didn't tell us he went back up to the mountain, but I bet he did. They don't got to tell us everything. Like I said, it's not strictly perfectly in order. Today we're like, hey, we need a biography perfectly in order. That's not the way they did in ancient times. Okay, personal injuries. He who strikes someone, he who strikes his father, he who kidnaps. So if you kidnap someone, so you got all these. So now it's not saying don't do this, don't do that. It's giving you very, like here we go. If people have a quarrel, one strikes the other with a stone or fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed. If he gets up and walks around, then he who struck him shall go unpunished. He shall pay for the loss of time. And shall pay for his care until he's completely healed. So it's giving you like more details, not just like here's what to do and here isn't what to do. Today, we're like, don't speed. Okay. The cop doesn't come to us and go, you shouldn't speed. And if you speed, you're going to pay a fine. And here's the fine you're going to pay and you're not getting. The cop doesn't do. The cop's like, so you know why I pulled you over, right? Yeah, because you were speed, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, due by Tuesday or whatever, I had one cop tell me, I said, wait, can I do this, that, or the other? He goes, there's a number on there, call it. And I'm like, and I was like, well, can I like do what's the defensive driving thing? He's like, that's probably an option. It's all on the paper. Here we go. Okay. It's kind of the same, I was driving 70 miles an hour on a small 2-lane, almost no shoulder road. That's the way it is in Texas back roads. 70. I see a cop and a bunch of people in a ditch in the grass on the right side of the road. So I'm like, okay, I better get in the left lane. For some reason, I don't think I better slow down. Why? I'm not sure. I get in the left lane. There's a car coming at us, comes around the bend. I get back in the right lane, zoom past these people going like 70 miles an hour. The cop gets in his car, chase. He's so mad. Do you realize what you did? At first, I was like, I don't understand. Well, then when he left and he came back and I said, hey, it's just now occurring to me. Here's what I did. And here's why it was dumb. And I agree with you. And now he's like, yes, you should. So here's your ticket. You should feel bad. So I felt dumb. It was for that incident and a few others, like running into a telephone pole at Walmart, that my parent-in-laws gave me a quote, safe driving calendar as a gag gift. Okay. Back to the Bible. So you can see all these laws that now people struggle with other ones, strikes a pregnant woman. Okay, that's good, but that's kind of random. So look at this. Personal injuries. They don't like A, B, C, D. He who strikes or he shall die shall be put to death. One who strikes his father or mother shall be put to death. Yikes. One who kidnaps someone or sells them. So that's not striking. So it's like, wait, is there any rhyme or reason to this? One who curses his father or mother. Now, if people have a quarrel with each other, and then see, these are short, but then they got a long one. This is the way they did in ancient times, it seems. You read the Bible, you see stuff just kind of willy-nilly in there. It's called case law. That's what I've heard. People were bringing stuff to Moses all day, remember? They're bringing stuff to Moses. Moses' father-in-law was like, dude, you need to get you some help. Jethro. Listen to a story about a man named Jethro. No, that's Jed. Whatever. So people bring stuff to his father-in-law. Moses' father-in-law comes to Moses, says, you're going to wear yourself out. He's like, well, this is what I do. He's like, hey, get some people to help you. So right here, Moses might be on the mountain. We might have people helping him. I think the whole Jethro incident is after the Mount Sinai incident. But like I said, the Bible's not exactly always perfectly chronological. They put it before. Why do they do that? I'm not sure. I'm not a scholar in the Bible. I'm just studying along with you. Maybe we'll look it up sometimes. I would go look it up now, but I'm afraid it'll take way too long. Okay. And supposedly around 12, I've got a Zoom meeting to talk about Bible stuff with some friends of mine. Anyway, so a pregnant woman, if someone strikes an eye. So it's all about striking. Oh, look, an ox now. So it's kind of in a general order, property rights. If someone opens a pit, digs a pit, does not cover it, and the ox or donkey falls, the owner shall make restitution, even the animals. If someone ox injures another ox so it dies, then they shall sell live ox. Why are they worried about ox? Why not? What if somebody drives their car into there? They didn't have cars. Dug a pit? Who digs a pit nowadays? People who live like rednecks on a farm. Maybe they're digging their pits. Farmers. Tribal people maybe dig pits and then they put fire in it or something. I don't know, to catch out. I don't dig a pit. I live in the middle of the city. The people back then, they didn't have buildings. They were all farmers back then. They were all, quote, tribal, unquote, people. They were all very outdoor people. That's why you're going to have laws about pits, donkeys, oxen. That was the most normal, everyday thing to them. Today, we're worried about, you hear, oh, my car got broken into. That's normal. You hear somebody got a speeding ticket. That's normal. To them, normal for oxen and stuff, Let's see. Chapter 22, more property rights. A field or vineyard, okay? If a fire breaks out and spreads among thorn bushes and stacked grain, the one who started the fire must make restitution. That's good. The one who started the fire must make restitution. Why don't they then go along and say, the one whose oxen who dug the pit must make restitution. The one who built a gate wrongly and it fell on the cattle must make restitution. The one who fell to secure a wall and it fell must make. Just seemed kind of willy-nilly, but that's the way they did it. Okay, look at this, various laws. Okay, so up here, his neighbor, his money or goods for him to keep, and it is stolen. So it's still about property. Someone gives his neighbor a donkey, an oxen, so it's still about property. Someone borrows an animal, still okay. But then the various laws, the subheading, remember the heading is not in the Bible, but they put it there to help us out. A man seduces a virgin. Okay. You shall not allow sorcerers to live. Okay. Whoever has sexual intercourse with an animal must be put to death. Wow. He who sacrifices any god, other than the Lord alone, you shall not oppress a stranger. Oh, back to if you lend money, you shall not curse God nor curse. Okay, so various laws. So they're just kind of haphazardly thrown in there. That's just the way they do it. Oh, at the very bottom, you shall be holy people to me. Okay. Sometimes he just adds that in. Sometimes you'll see that. Sometimes you should just be holy. Okay. Some of these laws are weird. Look at this. You shall be holy people. Now, some of them are kind of scary. A sorceress, you shall not allow a sorceress to live. What's a sorceress? I'm not sure. Sexual intercourse with animals be put to death. Yeah, that's weird stuff. That's the way they did it. Look at this. You shall be holy people to me. Therefore, you shall not eat any flesh torn to pieces in the field. Why not? What if I can cook it? You shall throw it to the dogs. Wait, we're wasting it? You shall be holy people, therefore. So the reason they're not to eat holy flesh, because God wants them to be holy people. Don't eat torn flesh, because God wants you to be holy people. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff we don't understand. Just a lot of stuff we don't understand, God does tell them in some place that he gave them these laws to set them apart from other nations. So maybe it was a common thing in other nations. Hey, there's an animal, it's torn up. Let's go cook it and eat it. And God is saying, hey, here's a way you can be set apart. You can be holy. You can be set apart. Don't do the thing that they do. And don't just go eat random meat out of it, even if you prepare it. Instead, throw it to dogs. The dogs can eat it, I guess. At least you're not wasting it entirely. Do they have pet dogs? I don't think so. They thought of dogs as dirty animals. Various laws, more various laws. You shall not give a false report. You shall not follow the crowd in doing evil. That's a good law. Nor shall you testify dispute so as to join together with the crowd in order to pervert justice. I like that. Nor shall you show favor to a poor person in his dispute. I love that. Jesus, he is in favor of the underdog, big time. But he never said, you're not a sinner, you're not sinful. The woman taken in adultery got her off the hook, and then he said, hey, he said, if anybody sins, cast the first stone. So hey, he said, cast a stone. At the end, he was like, hey, is anybody left? All the people left. Where are your accusers? And she was like, there aren't any, because they all left. And he said, hey, I don't accuse you. he didn't see her committing adultery. So he said, hey, so he didn't capture her. He doesn't have the evidence. There's no evidence. So he can't accuse her. She said, I didn't accuse her. Go and sin no more. He's not showing favoritism to her. He was like, hey guys, she got no sin, go for it. Everybody left. He goes, hey, there's no accuser, so I can't accuse you. Don't sin anymore. So, I mean, Jesus is doing the same thing. He's not showing favor to a poor person who's deceived. So if you encounter any of these oxen, see all this stuff about oxen, donkeys, All right. It's the Sabbath and the land. Now you shall sow your land for 6 years and gather its yield. Like I said, they were all farmers, like pretty much all of them, unless they were lazy, or even then they still need to. If they were crippled, or if they were blind, if they were disabled, I guess you wouldn't force them to do farm work. Obviously, older people wouldn't be doing farm work, but the general occupation, farmer. It wasn't occupation; it was your life. It was your livelihood. Today we think, what do we need? We need to put gas in the car. We need to pay electricity. We need to go to the supermarket. We need that stuff. Back then, they needed to farm. Very laborious work. Or else they didn't get no food. They didn't have refrigerators. Oh, hey, 3 national feasts right in the middle of the law. God's going to tell them about the 3 national feasts in the middle of the law. It's like, hey, this is law. We don't go around saying, okay, kids, you're going to celebrate a birthday party. The cops don't come to us and go, okay, guys, you're going to celebrate your kid's birthday party. You will buy him a cake and presents. Number 2, you will celebrate Christmas. Number 3, you will celebrate National Muffin Day. You will buy 46 muffins. Cops don't do that. We don't have those in our law, in our American law. But back then, they were starting a nation. God's like, you're going to have these feasts. The feasts were to set them apart. This kind of shows you that some of it is out of order, I think. Let's see. Feast of Unleavened Bread, Passover, okay? Passover, God told them, have no leaven in your house. The Feast of Unleavened, has Moses explained to them yet what the Feast of Unleavened Bread is? No, but God told them this. Now, they don't have any explanation of it yet, but God's telling them you're going to celebrate this feast. So either this could be, Moses could have gotten this late. We could have this recorded and not have the conversation recorded where they already have talked about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They've already talked about it, gotten all the details and stuff. Then Moses is recording this now. That could be it. Or God could be saying, you're going to keep this feast. And Moses is like, okay, whatever you say. So he chisels it out or he listens to it. Then later, God gives him the details. Either way, the month of Abib, they didn't have February, March, April, May. No one is okay. You shall keep the feast of harvest of the first fruits. The first fruits, the feast of harvest. Like I said, they're farmers. At the beginning of the year, in August for them, around fall, feast of harvest, because yay, we got a harvest. Let's go bring it in. First fruits. You need to bring as much in before the winter, because nothing grows in the winter. You need lots of food. Also, the Feast of Ingathering at the end of the year. So around spring or summer. Or around spring when summer starts. Because summer, not a lot of stuff grows, but they have a second crop after spring. So they have they gather stuff around the spring, the Feast of Ingathering. The stuff of harvest around autumn. They didn't call it autumn. They didn't call it spring, but that's what we call it today. 3 national feasts. Then right here should be another subheading. You shall not offer blood sacrifice with leavened bread. You shall bring the choice fruits. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. The milk of it. That has got to be the weirdest law of all. It's repeated like 3 times. So obviously it was important. I don't know what it means. We still read it because, let's read it. A lot of this stuff gives us edification. Verses like that, they're included. I kind of allowed them to show me that, hey, BJ, you're not going to know everything. Oh, and then conquest of the land. Behold, I'm going to send an angel before you. So right in the middle of all this law stuff, God talks about how they're going to take the land of Canaan. But remember, they wandered 40 years in a desert. You remember all that stuff? And then Joshua in the wall of Jericho, conquest of land. Okay, so after Jericho, They go and they take over the land of Canaan. My grandmother lived on a road called, no, she lived in a place, and nearby was a road called Canaan. Well, then I went to visit later, like years later, I was in college. My grandmother said, "Oh, Canaan now goes through." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "The road used to dead end. We'd have to drive all the way around the neighborhood." 40 years of wondering. But all the way around, God took them a long ways. But now the road of Canaan goes straight through. Oh, okay. In the Bible, they got highways, right? Yeah. So it doesn't really match. I'm going off on the rail here. But that's what they call the law of Canaan. That's why you hear of Canaanites, if you ever heard of that. If you haven't, it's okay. Remember, this is supposed to be very basic stuff. So if I just say random things, go look it up and such. Let's do that real quick. Canaan, like that. Let's see. I don't even know how to spell it. Canaan Wikipedia. Canaan or Janan is a Turkish female name. Canaan, a TV series. Let's spell it with two N's. Wait, look at that. Canaan. Let's try that. Canaan, Wikipedia. There's pictures. Oh, Edom, that's another place in the Bible. Goshen is a place. Moab is a place in the Bible. This right here looks like the coastline of Israel. This, you can't see it, but it says Egypt. I promise it does. If I enlarge my screen, you won't be able to see. Canaan was a Semitic speaking civilization. Semitic is Jewish, basically. So Canaan was a Jewish civilization. Okay. See, so this is it. So Canaan, Wikipedia, Biblical Greek. Okay. Hebrew. Okay, so we found the right Canaan. What is the city of Canaan? There wasn't a city. What does Canaan represent in the Bible? Was Canaan a good place? Now, this might give us weird stuff. It might not. We can look this up. In the biblical narrative, Canaan was the promised land, given New World Encyclopedia. I believe the New World Encyclopedia is actually a Catholic encyclopedia, which means they've studied the Bible like crazy, and their information. I'm personally not Catholic. Some of the theology don't agree with, but as far as general Bible facts, they'll probably have the knowledge down, So that's good. We could trust that one, New World Encyclopedia. We can trust that for general Bible facts. Promised land given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their descendants by God. Okay, remember I said that earlier? Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, Israelites. There's the Edomites. There's the Moabites, the Amalekites, the Girgashites. Yeah, they something-ites, everything ites. Who did Canaanites worship? Okay. Just for fun, let's look. Remember, they're the people who lived in the land of Canaan. Conquest of the land. God is telling them they're not in Canaan yet. They just came out of Israel. They're wandering around in the desert. God's trying to make an actual nation out of them. An actual kingdom, an actual country, like a nation. God is going to give them this land. Behold, I'm going to send an angel before you to guard you along the way. Okay. Who did Canaanites worship? Last thing we'll look about Canaanites is what? Britannica.com. Pretty trustworthy, I bet. They got scholars and such. Now they're secular. They're not, there might be Bible scholars who write Bible entries for Britannica.com or for dictionaries, but Britannica, like Encyclopedia Britannica or any encyclopedia or dictionary, they're going to be secular. They might have religious people write the article. You read Canaanite and you read stuff, God worshipped in many ancient Middle Eastern communities. This stuff might be written by a scholar who is religious, who is a Christian, but Britannica itself is secular. Not a problem. They're not going to be like the Bible, that stupid, wrong thing that everybody, Jesus is a horrible person. It's not going to say that, of course. So they're generally reliable. I only mention all that because some people will go, wait a minute, that's a secular source, or we can't use that. We use secular sources all the time. You look at your phone, but phone book. I don't know what a phone book. They used to have an actual book with, 90% of the information that you get from the internet for your everyday life, 90% of the books you read to get information from, road signs that tell you where to go. If you want to go to a city, it has an arrow pointing that way, 20 miles. That's secular. You go to the grocery store, you read the signs under the supermarket, produce, 99 cents a pound. That's secular. You open the newspaper to read the sports or the comics. Secular stuff everywhere. So don't freak out about it. They're not all out to get us. So just use common sense. Okay, enough tangent. Wait, real quick. Canaan, son of Ham. Okay, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were three of Noah's sons. Yes, Noah in the ark. Okay, yeah, Ham. Ham sandwich, huh? Canaan is an early venture capital. That's not the one in the Bible. Canaan, okay. Various established historical and biblical literature. Okay, okay. So we could look up that if you wanted to look up more. Will probably be in there. It's the name of a large and prosperous ancient country. Other than a tribute to Egypt in the Levant. The Levant is the area around the Middle East, near just northeast of Egypt, just to the east of Israel or Canaan. So hey, there you go. So you can, I don't think the word Levant is in the Bible. Okay, I'm gonna go find some laws in other parts of the Bible. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing real quick. So Moses seems to still be on the mountain here. We haven't seen him come down. We haven't seen him stop talking to God. Is he on the mountain? I think he is. Remember, it didn't tell us. There's a mountain. Moses comes down to talk to the people. Maybe he just went near the mountain and God's talking to him. Maybe the people can still hear him. Supposedly Moses is going to talk to God, then he's going to come tell the people. We're not exactly sure, at least from what we've read so far. But it goes straight from, there's various laws. Then there's laws about the Sabbath. Then there's explaining feasts and some laws. Then here's how you're going to conquest, how you're going to take over the land. Are those laws? If a police officer was like, don't speed, don't drive recklessly, drive on the right side of the road. Here's how you're going to go grocery shopping this afternoon. Like, wait, what? Wait, did you? Okay, I want you to go down this aisle. Don't worry, I'm going to come with you. It's like, wait, what? No. God is a more personal God, okay? He gives them laws. He gives us laws. He gives us commands. Then he tells us what to do in life. God's telling them, here's how, be attentive to I'm going to send an angel. Be attentive to him and obey his voice. If you truly obey his voice and do all that I say, okay. So God's like, hey, look, I'm giving you some more personal advice on how you're going to conquer the land of Canaan. Okay. So just straight from laws, straight into how they're going to conquer the land. That's the way they did it. Was this a way of other ancient law codes outside of the Bible? And other ancient civilizations? I'm not sure. Can y'all hear the ambulance? There goes the fire truck. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I'm not sure if that's the way it was in other ancient law codes. I wouldn't be surprised, Yes, ancient law codes. That's what some if you want to sound smart, well, this ancient law code, people affirm their covenant with God. Then God said to Moses, come up to the Lord. Oh, so maybe Moses is down there. If this is in order, all those laws might have been given to Moses and they might have just put them there. And then, hey, back to the narrative, Moses alone, however, you shall approach the Lord. That's my phone. But you shall not approach, nor shall the people come up with you. Okay, so God's saying, hey, they're probably gonna affirm the covenant, but Moses is gonna take the priests there. Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, 70 elders, but only Moses can go up to God. Moses came and reported to the people all the words the Lord had said, all the ordinances. Okay, all of them. We give a whole bunch later, though. Well, at least all the ones we've gotten so far. So we go from being in the land of Canaan. We go from God gives them the 10 commandments. Then the people are freaking out. Moses says, don't worry about it. Then God talks to Moses and said, hey, I'm going to come talk to you. Then God gives them all these laws. Then suddenly, then God said to Moses, come up to the Lord. Wait, I thought he was up to the Lord. Bring the priest with you. Moses only shall come up. Then Moses reports stuff to the people. Wait, did he go up to the Lord or did he report it to the people? Like I said, they didn't always write it in strictly chronological order. Just the way they did, Like, look at this. Then Moses came and reported to the people all the words of the Lord and all the ordinances. So the words of the Lord and the ordinances, those are law. What if I click this right here? Judgments. Okay. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord has spoken will do. All the people, there's hundreds of thousands of them, all of them at once. It must be a general thing. See, we picture like a huge assembly. They were in a camp. There probably was a place where Moses went and stood. There's a place called the Tent of Meeting. I'm not sure if that's where he stood, but there probably was a place where he stood. Maybe he stood on some rocks higher than everybody else. There was a mountain. By mountain, probably is a large hill, a very large hill. Don't picture like the Rocky Mountains. Don't picture Mount Everest. Okay, in the Middle East, they had some rocky terrain, probably a really large hill. So Moses is probably up, high above the people, and he can hear all the people below him. They all assemble. They're all camped together. You imagine how big that is? Hundreds of thousands of people camped everywhere. One of the numbers somewhere says all the men, 603,000 people, all the men of fighting age. What about all the women and children then? What about the men not of fighting age, between the age of 20 and 40 or something? A lot of people, almost 1 million people, man. So Moses talking to all these people, all the people say we're going to do it, and Moses wrote down. I thought he already wrote them down. Maybe God told him, then he wrote them down. Then he got up early. Now it's the next morning. We're just going everywhere with this. Like, BJ, why are you beating it? I thought we were talking about law. Well, hey, now we're having a study on law and on how the Bible is not always written chronologically. It seems like the more personal you get in the Old Testament, because in Genesis it was like this happened in the big picture when the earth first was made, and then you got lots of big events with hundreds of years between them. This event, this event, this event, and then it hones down and talks about Noah and his life over 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Then this big event, then this big event. Then it talks about Abraham and his life over. The more personal it gets, it seems. This is as personal as you get. This is it's like God speaking directly to the people. One little place over the course of a few days, it seems. Not the closer it gets, the less chronologically perfect it's going to be, it seems. I'm just kind of, remember, studying along with me. Yes, I've studied this before, and that's why I feel comfortable and I'm able just to say all this. But some of this, I'm like, oh, wait, I don't remember this part. Oh, wait, I don't remember that like he was on the mountain. Now he's like, hey, come up. And now he's down here with the people right after he said, come up. I don't remember that exactly. I thought the next Bible story was something else, actually. So, hey, look at this. Come up to the Lord, you, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. They shall not approach, nor the people shall come up, Moses alone. Now I'm reading it out of order, Moses alone. Then Moses came to the people right after God said, hey, come up here. All the people said, well, do what you say. He sent young men. They offered burnt offerings and sacrificed bulls. Okay. Moses took some of the stuff, the blood, the other half. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it. Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord made with you in accordance with all these words. That's kind of gross. But then Moses went up. Okay, then Moses went up with Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. Those are Aaron's kids. And 70 of the elders, because there were 70 tribes by this time, I guess. And they saw the God of Israel under his feet. So they went up to the mountain. Now remember, Moses alone shall approach the Lord. Aaron and Nadab and Abihu, maybe they stood at a distance, and the 70 elders. You shall worship at a distance. Moses alone went up. Moses went up with the people and 70 elders. They saw the God of Israel. Under his feet, God has feet. Well, what else are they going to see? Does God have literal feet? They're going to see God as they picture him in their mind, or God is going to present himself in a physical way. God came down to Moses. There's a story in the book of Genesis. There's Abraham. He's talking to the people. I'm sorry, he's talking to his wife. It's just Abraham, his servant, his wife, and that's it. They're at a place called the Oaks of Mamre. The oaks, I guess there's big giant oaks. This place called Mamre, there's a bunch of oaks. They're at this place called the Oaks of Mamre. And then it says, God came to them, 3 angels. They see that Moses sees the angels. He doesn't know they're angels. He doesn't know it's God. He doesn't know they're angels. He's like, hey, he goes down and bows down. Hey, come on in. Very hospitable. He's like, hey, let's cook some food for you. He runs to Sarah. He says, hey, prepare a goat. Sarah, his wife. He says, hey, fix a goat, fix some stuff, fix some food. He goes out to the people, the angels, to these men. He's like, hey, you're going to eat some food with us. We're going to sacrifice the goat. Well, eventually they start talking, and eventually it's made clear through the conversation that it's the angel of the Lord. And Moses is like, whoa, oh my goodness, it doesn't, I don't think Abraham, I don't think it records Abraham's response, but you can tell that in their conversation, Abraham eventually figures it out, that this isn't just a man, this is an angel. And then later it's like, it says Abraham, like the same trip, Abraham goes with one of the angels and Abraham starts calling him Lord. So it's calling him God. And God's like, should I withhold stuff from Abraham? And then God's like, hey, Abraham, I'm going to destroy this place. Abraham's like, no, please don't. So now he definitely knows it's God, or that God's but it's in the form of an angel, of a person that was able to eat stuff. God shows himself to us in ways we recognize. So here, God shows himself to them. They saw him. Under his feet, there appeared to be a pavement of sapphire, as clear as the sky itself. In the book of Revelation, they say there's a sea of crystal glass. There's a sea of God sitting on a throne, and he looks like a big glowing thing with fire all around him. He's sitting on in the book of Revelation, John sees heaven in a vision. He sees God sitting on a throne. He's all fiery and stuff. He's on a throne made of glowing sapphire. Under him is a sea like of crystal glass. Here, under his feet, appeared to be a pavement of sapphire, and as clear as the sky itself. Yet God did not reach out with his hand against the nobles and sons of Israel. They saw God and they ate and drank. They brought some food up there. So Moses is close. Okay. Then the Lord said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and stay there. I will give you the stone tablets with the law and the commandments which I have written for their instruction. So we got some of the law and such. And if I'm correct, I believe in a minute we're going to get more. In a minute, in the next chapters, we're going to get more. But I just got a text. Let's see. Okay. I just got a text, so now I'm going to go talk to my friends about my Bible podcast. My Bible, it's my friend's podcast called Unbalanced. We talk about our lives. We talk about Bible stuff. We talk about how you can be a Christian in the world. We mostly try to gear it towards people who are unchurched or de-churched. They like the church, and now they kind of don't like it. We're kind of trying to gear it towards that, but it just goes all over the place. So that's our podcast. So hey, Unbalanced podcast. Go listen to it. So I'm going to end this right here. Hopefully this has been a help to some of you, and maybe we'll continue to go through this. I was going to go look at a lot more stuff in the Bible, but I was having such a good time explaining this and such. I went very quickly. That's why you should go back and read it yourself. And don't be afraid to go to Google like I did and look stuff up. Don't be afraid to go to Blue Letter Bible. One second. Be afraid to go blueletterbible.org. You're like, is BJ correct? Go to blueletterbible.org. You got devotionals. You got study material here. Yeah. Harmony of the Gospels, Encyclopedia of the Dictionaries, Introductions to the Bible. Oh, something happened. What happened? Oh, it went to the commentaries, audio and video commentaries on books of the Bible. Theological resources. See, Blue Letter Bible got lots of good stuff. Maps and images we were looking at earlier. Okay, so while you're studying, don't be afraid. We got through like what, 4 or 5 chapters, but I barely read. We like skimmed over a lot. Some of it just skipped altogether. You know, some of it we read 2 or 3 times and then we skipped a whole bunch of it. That's what we got so far. When you're just this is what studying is for. Okay, guys. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna call my friend here on the phone. Okay. You're gonna watch me. Call my friend. Let's see, is he gonna answer? Topical indexes, but there's more stuff. What is help? Hey, Epi, what's up? Are we gonna do the Zoom call right now? Oh, you're on? Okay. Let me stop this thing. And I'm on a Zoom thing, but I'm recording myself for a YouTube Bible video. Yeah. All right. See you in a minute. Okay. See you in a moment. There we go. Now y'all know it's legit. I wasn't telling stories. Yes, his name is Epi. E-P-I. All right, guys, I'm gonna pray us out real quick. We always have to pray us out. There's a church catchphrase. I'm gonna pray us out. I'll pray. Thank you, Lord, for all this study, for all this craziness. God, my rambling, my going here, going there, I point the mouse to the wrong places. People are like, wait, what did you say? We couldn't hear you. The mic's not good. You went too fast. We didn't get enough into it. Wait, I'm confused. Lord, take all that confusion and A, help us learn, and B, let us know that even if we don't learn perfectly, you love us anyway. Help us not to freak out. Oh, we need to know this stuff. God, we're in your arms. We're in your hands. You're a gracious and loving God, and you're good to us that way. Thank you, Lord. And as always, thank you, Jesus, dying on that cross and rising again. Thank you for living for us, for being master of the universe. We always got to add in the cross, right? I love you very much, Lord. See you later, guys.